Okay, so I guess it starts here. Welcome to the very first episode. My name's Todd Sloan, building a passive income of $200,000. Now, if you've just clicked on this video and you're like, what the hell is this guy about? Click this little link up here, right? This will actually explain what we're doing here. But otherwise, this is the very first episode. As I said in the description, no idea what I'm doing with this. So this is probably going to evolve over time. Best way I thought to do this, basically just divide things up into, first of all, what have I actually done this week to move closer towards the goal? What's been the biggest challenge in that? How that challenge has been overcome. Plus an inside look and tips for you guys to take away as investors from a sales agent's point of view. So starting off, I've got to make sure that I dive back into the other 3 projects that I've already done to get you guys up to date. But I wanted to actually just get into this and start filming an episode. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep putting this off. I had this idea like a year ago. So this week I've been reading through Stephen Polisi's new book. I don't know about you guys, but every time I read something commercial, it just kind of makes me think, I need to explore this more. And that's exactly what I did. Having a chat with Stephen on the podcast was awesome. The guy knows his stuff back to front, but he also just made things easier and more approachable. Commercial property investing is something that I think a lot of us have kind of just looked at and brushed off. Listen to the episode if you're interested and you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, as for growing the portfolio this week, now the challenge that I've had this week in growing the portfolio to the next one is valuations. My valuations have been coming in short. Now for 3 out of the properties that are getting refinanced, so we can end up actually increasing the cash flow to get better serviceability and move into property number 4. 2 of them out of the 3 have come in terrible. And I don't mean just a little bit bad. Like, I mean, in one case, it is laughably bad. I don't know what the valuer was thinking. And I say this with all due respect to valuers. In no way am I bad-mouthing the profession, all right? But what I want to do, and the reason I want to share this with you guys, is because I see this all the time in my job as well. People will get a bad valuation, something that comes in sometimes 20, 30, 50, 100 grand short, depending on the price point of the property, and just think, oh, well, that's it. I guess that's what it is. No, it doesn't have to be. If you want to just take off your shoes at the door, well then, yeah, that can be it. But there are other options, and that's what I wanted to discuss with you today. So these valuations are coming in short. Now, the first thing my broker did was actually check if they did a desktop valuation or if they actually did a full short form valuation. Now, the first one on one of my properties was actually just done as like a little bit of an auto val, basically. That one came in almost 20% below where it should be sitting right now. And that's 20% below where it should be sitting realistically. I could probably still sell that for 30 grand more than its realistic reval. So instead of just getting annoyed with that, what the broker did was actually ordered a short form. Now this short form also came in a little bit short, not too short, all right, but they ended up doing a curbside. Now, if you don't know anything about valuations, that means that they literally just rocked up to the curb of the property. So they didn't actually go through the home either. Now, this is a property that's been renovated and doesn't actually have the accurate photos online. I've even looked at this myself and just seen that it still has the old photos on there. So we need to make sure that gets reordered. But the other thing that you really want to make sure of when you're using a broker, and this is one of the other reasons to go with a broker, because if I just went directly to the bank, that's it. The shoes are off at the door. I don't know why my shoes are off at the door. that you're out of options, okay? Yeah, unless you go down and all of a sudden now go, all right, well now let's talk to ANZ, to Combank, to whoever it is, okay? I don't care who it is, but just another lender. The broker is able to actually see things like, do some lenders actually let you choose your own valuer? Some lenders will charge for valuations where some lenders won't charge for valuations. They'll be able to actually present you with a list of options, because sometimes the right valuation can actually be the difference between getting into the next property and not getting into it. So make sure if you actually get a no from, well, it's not a no. Just make sure if you get the wrong answer, and when I say the wrong answer, the answer you don't want when it comes to a valuation, don't give up. Okay, maybe that actually is the best one, and maybe your expectations need to come down a little bit. Okay, we all think our property is worth more than what maybe it is, but maybe, just maybe, you actually can get a better valuation. So talk to your broker, see about maybe ordering another valuation if there is a way that it can be done, because there is ways that it can be done, absolutely. There's something I really want to share with you guys around subject to finance clauses in contracts. Loan approval amounts. Now, this is something that I come across quite often, actually. If someone wants to put the subject to finance in their contract, totally standard, okay, that's normal. Then maybe it's not in your state, but in South Australia, a sub-finance in like kind of the 2 to 700 category, pretty straightforward, pretty normal. One of the things I find we get a little bit of pushback on sometimes is the minimum loan amount. When you're actually filling out a subject to finance clause in a contract, and this is a REISA standard contract, you need to put down a minimum loan amount. So let's just say that you've got a house that you're purchasing for $500,000 and the loan itself is going to be for $400,000. Now, it's all pretty straightforward, right? You need to get a $400,000 loan to actually fulfill that clause. Now, sometimes we'll get an approval back from a broker and they'll say the loan has been approved. And then they don't actually tell us how much the loan's been approved for. Technically, I mean, we could probably just walk away and be like, oh yeah, okay, cool, the loan's been approved, we'd take the word for it. But what if there are loans only been approved for like $250,000 and you don't check that as an agent? If you're selling a property and they're not checking stuff like this, to me, it's a stupid sort of, it's a really simple oversight, because if that gets found out the day of settlement and you don't sell, you're looking like an idiot and the whole deal can fall apart. The only reason I even bring this up with you guys is because I literally just got off a call from a broker and they said everything met the contract and they just refused to actually give us the loan amount. I don't care if someone's been approved for $10 billion. It makes no difference. Like it's a signed contract. I'm not going to all of a sudden up the price of the house. I can't do that even if I wanted to anyway. And they said that they wrote us an email saying I can confirm approval amount meets the loan requirements. It didn't. As soon as we pushed back, turns out they're actually approved for $440. And the loan requirements as a minimum was $450. It's only 10 grand. And it's like, yeah, fair enough, it's 10 grand. They're probably just going to reach into their savings. But what if they don't have another 10 grand savings? Or what if they actually want to use that as a get out of jail free card? So which, I guess if you want to be a savvy investor, sort of putting a few trapdoors next to you, you could potentially do this kind of stuff if you're buying through an agent that doesn't look into it this way. But yeah, otherwise it's a simple due diligence, guys. Yeah, this is something that I just come across all the time as an agent and wanted to share this one with you because I think it's something that you really just want to be aware of. If you're buying property, if you're selling property, if you're using a subject to finance clause, this is something you want to know about. So currently we have like nothing on the doing board right now because maybe I should actually get a doing sign that actually just says getting finance in order, but there's nothing to renovate. There's nothing to actually play with property-wise. Actually, yes, I should do that. All right, there has to be something in the doing board, okay? Let's get to the done board next episode. That's been the very first vlog update. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I can't wait to really start bringing you some amazing content right now. But this is the reality of property investing. It's not always fun, sexy, and cool. A lot of the time it's slow and not much is really freaking happening. You got to remember sometimes it's the boring, detailed stuff that actually gets you to that next stage. And right now, this financing side of things is definitely not the sexiest part of it, but it's absolutely the most important, because if you can't get your financing right, you're not moving on to the next property. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Make sure to check out the Pizza and Property podcast as well if you haven't already. Have an amazing week, guys.